This week on True Bloods, we're pretty bloody flat, if I'm being honest, Faithful. We went up to Sydney, and while we had fun, we got very little value from that game.
We did. We talked everything that was the weekend. We try and turn around morale. Big game against the Tigers this week. Get down to the MCG, Melbourne Faithful. Let's go.
Jeez, this is the most one-eyed podcast.
It's what we're here to do. There is only one side in this competition. It's game-changing.
It's absolutely game-changing, Deeb.
Riddle me that,
Yeah,
Mads.
riddle me that, Deeble.
Do you remember? It's what we're here to do.
This is True Bloods, the number one independent Sydney Swans fan podcast. We are live in the AFL Today Studio to talk about whatever that was on Saturday against the Crows, the upcoming clash against the Tigers, and everything else. Joined as always to my left, Big Clarko. How are you, buddy?
Oh, I've been better.
Yeah.
It's frightening. And we've never been in this position before, really.
It's real. We've done a lot of soul thinking over the weekend.
Soul
haven't we?
thinking?
Soul thinking? Deep in
Soul searching.
soul searching.
Or deep thinking.
Nah, deep thinking into my soul. Well, I reckon that works for mine.
Yeah, for yours, Deebs.
Yes, we've been thinking a lot about our club's position at the moment, how we sort of stack up against previous years.
The hangover didn't help.
And when we've faced a little bit of adversity before, mate. But yeah, this is shaping up to be something a little bit different to what we're used to as Swanee supporters.
Well,
isn't
this
it?
is uncharted areas. Simple as that. If you look at the COVID years, there were very clear reasons for that, and you could never doubt endeavour and effort. I'm not saying that there was no effort on the weekend. They just look a bit lost. And that, unfortunately, manifests in statistical drivers that lead to you going, well, there's not the effort there.
Yeah.
You know, like tackles, for one, Deebs.
Sure. I keep coming back to the word disconnected. I
Yep.
feel that we're sort of disconnected from a coaching level through to not having our captain out there, to lacking on-field leadership, and then in turn, the players not playing how they want to be playing, and it just looking, as Wayne Malera went with a bit of a rabble.
Rabble.
And there's no doubt that's what it was on the weekend.
Tell you
It's-
what, Faithful, he wasn't wrong. I was there.
Yes. Yes, we were, and we sat through it, and it's just, it's really hard. And I think this is the concerning part, is it's hard to put your finger on one thing. It feels like it's many, many different things that aren't going our way, and that's culminating into this storm that we have at the moment, which it sounds like it's going to get slightly even worse. We've talked about on this podcast how, a strong foundation at the top, at the board level, Mads.
Even the board.
Even the board, Mads. It sounds like that's going to be broken up too, because the information that's coming through this evening is Tom Harley's taken a job with the AFL.
Well, so Tom Harley as the CEO, our man Tom Harley, and let's just quickly, we wouldn't have had the access that we've had over the last 18 months if it wasn't for Tom Harley. So, and we knew this was going to be a high possibility, probably highly likely that this was going to happen. It's just not ideal, the timing, but he's been absolutely phenomenal. So the way it works is the CEO reports to the board.
Sure.
So I don't know if there'll be a shake-up at board level. I don't think there necessarily needs to be. We're sort of performing quite well from a business perspective. But I would like to see a dyed-in-the-wool Sydney guy as the new CEO, ideally.
Yeah, it's such an important position. We've seen what can happen at other clubs when, the CEO is not quite getting it done from a footy perspective and a business perspective, and how that can flow down through the channels into the footy department, etc. So it's a really important position to get filled with someone who is absolutely competent in the job. So we're going to be on the search pretty soon. I'm assuming it'll be a handover type thing. It's not going to be snap your fingers and he's gone.
No.
That would be my take. But yeah, news filtering through. Tom Harley has taken a job with the AFL.
Yes. It's so very much the AFL to make all these changes mid-season, isn't it?
It is, and look, it's
Talk about rabble.
you don't really think about this type of stuff until it impacts your club, right? This definitely isn't the first time the sort of AFL has gone searching to fill positions out of club level to take it back to headquarters, and I think the disruption probably outweighs what they're going to gain in the interim, in my opinion. But look,
Well, they've cocked it up from the start.
Yeah,
With the portfolios that they gave to Laura Kane and the environment in which they allowed her to sort of operate in with seemingly little to no support, and it's just been a nightmare up until this point. So I'm glad they're getting it resolved, but yeah, it's they're a rabble. The AFL's a rabble. But I digress. We've got a football club in shambles at the moment. And you're right about not being able to necessarily easily put your finger on what's going on. Like, you can speculate, right? But I think it comes down to this. I'm going to give you 5 points, Deebs, because I really don't think – I think this is more of a pertinent discussion than going over quarter by quarter that game against Adelaide, because we know what went wrong. We kicked the first goal, they kicked the next 11. We folded like a big W deck chair, Deeps.
yes.
So I just don't see, and you know, that is no different to a few of the other losses that we've had this year.
For sure.
So I think going over it is, I'd rather sort of pour gasoline all over myself and light myself on fire and run down South Bank than run through that game line by line. But instead, I think these are the 5 key areas, Deebs.
Go. Point 1.
New coach, new game plan, adjustment period, right?
Yep.
So obviously stepping into the senior role, bit of confusion in transitional play. I think that's probably where a part that we were league leaders in last year that has fallen off. There seems a bit of confusion that would line up with the injuries that we've got as well.
For sure. And I think our game plan has changed.
Yes.
There's no doubt. And if you actually go deep dive into the stats a little bit, I did hear today that we are actually the 6th ranked contested footy side in the competition.
Which is bizarre,
Which
isn't
is
it?
bizarre to hear. It feels like we've probably lost it more, or you're not looking at it as in depth when...
Is that a Hoyne point?
No, not a Hoyne point. I did hear that today. It just shows a clear change in focus from the fast ball movement, really a offensive side, to a focus on contested ball.
But do you think that's due to availability of players?
No, I think that's due to game plan, and that's what we're going to try and improve on, because that's what came undone on grand final day.
Well, yeah, and they've been experimenting with different sort of clearance setups as well. Yeah. So that's probably that lack of continuity, I think, is an issue as well.
Yeah, I think I'm not saying it definitely plays into that narrative, having the personnel, but I don't think that's the reason.
And obviously our back six, while solid in a lot of occasions and have absorbed a barrage of balls inside D50, there's been a lot of people in and out of the side. So there's been really no continuity. And in terms of structuring up, we've struggled when haven't had sort of Malikan there or what have you.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's a bit of the old damn wall theory, isn't
correct.
It? It's just
Absolutely.
it's like the last 2 weeks have conceded 60 plus inside 50s and 130 points each week.
What else? What are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do?
Yeah. And to Adelaide's credit, they shot the lights out. Or they didn't
Killed
miss.
it. Didn't
21
miss.
goals, 5.
Didn't
I think
miss.
if my maths is correct, that's probably around the 80% mark.
Correct.
So look, that's good. You know what they say, Mads? Good kicking is good football.
And when it rains, it pours.
And they kicked their way well and surely into winning that game.
So that's the first point. New coach, new game plan. So there's an adjustment period there.
Yep.
And we'll get to the Dean Cox of it all in a bit. Injuries to key players. We don't have to go through this. We know all this. Goulden, Mills, McDonald, Amadi, McInerney, Papley, Malikan, just rolling in and out of the side if they're coming in at all.
That's right.
And that's massive, right? And we'll obviously get down to that. Lack of on-field leadership.
Yeah.
Luke Parker moves,
Yep.
right? Callum Mills injured. Goulden injured.
Yeah. Yeah.
Warner, big going on.
Yeah. I don't think Chad's one wood is his on-field leadership.
No,
so
of course.
I'm probably not putting him in the category, but
But
doesn't
so maybe not from a vocal perspective, but from a do as I do.
Yeah.
Not as I
actions.
say. Yes. Leadership via action.
For sure.
And that's been evident.
Yep.
That's been evident when teams have gotten a run on. That's been evident. A hard fixture. We've had the hardest fixture thus far. So with all of the above, combine that with a difficult fixture. That doesn't help either. And number 5, which is probably the most concerning part, but if you're an astute football watcher, which a lot of the faithful are, as we know, you've sort of come with these sort of comments, and I think we tend to agree, is there's an imperfect list, Deebs.
Yeah.
There's an imperfect list that was, over the last couple of years, papered over by the fact that we've got a lot of individual brilliance. That top tier level of our players have just gone to another level and gotten us out of the shit. And our tier below that have been exposed, weighed,
sure.
measured, and found wanting, Deebs.
Yeah, for sure. And we've just got to go in and bat for our men sometimes.
Yep.
When people come with the sledgehammer per se.
Per se, Deebs.
Mads. Everyone's still whacking Kinnear Beatson for this list.
Yep.
Right? Kinnear Beatson hasn't been in the head national recruiting role for the last 2 seasons. So just if you're going to comment on this stuff, do your research and know who is at the top of the chain. He is consulting for the club for in recruitment.
Not
but
his calls
He's
to
not
make.
the top dog anymore. He hasn't been making the calls the last 2 seasons. So to that bloke who called up SEN, that's the 3rd time I've heard him call up whacking Kinnear Beatson. Just get your facts right. And there's a few of the faithful who still go for Beatson's head too. And look, has he had a huge say on this list as it is now? Yeah, he's had some input, but a lot changes in 2 years, Mads.
And,
So-
he was the first one to put his hand up and say he made an error with the Dylan Stevens pick.
Yeah.
Right? But this is few and far between, the errors that Kinnear Beatson made. And as you say, he's had less and less input as time has gone on. So
That's right.
you really do have to do your research because you end up...
Look, people just, when you've been like a what's the word? A stalwart?
a stalwart of the club.
I was going to go with that. I just wasn't quite sure with the word. And look, I'm always getting fact checks, so it makes me second guess myself. So,
By the faithful.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
So
sure.
look at then they just see King Kinnear and us crap on about him all the time. So look, it's understandable, but just know your footy club. That's all I'd say.
Sure. Fire.
Fire. That's right.
Yeah, nice.
That's right.
I think it's a perfect storm
Yeah.
for mine, Deebs.
For yours,
It's. Do you have any issue with anything that I've laid out on the table there? I think that's very clear that any new coach coming into that environment, you're cooked. Now, what's your view?
my view is that I 100% agree with you. I think you've brought up 5 different areas of the club and the footy department and
That's right.
everything going on, and it makes perfect sense. But look, I don't think anyone was safe this week on the socials, Mads, and
No way.
there are a few drive-bys to us, with sayings that we like to go with. And I suppose that the big one is we always say it's never as good as it seems, never as bad as it seems. But when you put it down on paper and you sort of start to get the reasonings behind things and what's actually going on, it's like, if you think this is terrible, right, and it is as bad as it seems, does that mean that they think we're stuck in the bottom 4 for multiple years? Because that's the outcome of it's as bad as it seems. You are stuck down the bottom of the ladder. There is no way out, and we are cooked as a footy club. That's what you think.
We are cooked. We're about to enter a 5-year rebuild
That's right.
with no light at the end of the tunnel. I absolutely stand by the fact that it is never as good as it seems, and it's never as bad as it seems. This is where you test those theories and where you go, oh, actually, hold on, it actually makes complete sense. because it can all look rosy and it can all fall over in a matter of minutes.
That's right.
And a week is a long time in football. Another old adage by Eddie Maguire.
That's right.
And it's always been proven to be correct, faithful. Always. How often has a team been lambasted on the footy show and then they've come out the next week and they've
Had a good
beaten
win.
someone, right?
And look, and this is when it culminates with 2 shocking losses. And when we say it's not as bad as it seems, it's not as if
It's just not as bad as it seems.
we're not excusing the performances and saying, oh, it's all going to be okay.
The performance
right?
was unacceptable in every manner of speaking. Every manner of speaking. And the players will tell you that themselves. Simple as that.
That's right.
So we're never excusing it. And I mean, do we try and be positive? I mean, yeah, absolutely. We try and remain positive. There's a number of people who probably want us to sink the boots and go down by jumper number down the list and absolutely roast everyone. It's like, you may think you want that, but you actually don't want that. That makes a very depressing content listening.
And it's just not the way to
yeah,
go about it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Hey, if you look on the negative side
Who are we,
of
Carlton?
That's right. Yeah, well, are we going to be like other Carlton podcasts and when we have a couple of bad days, we're just not going to rock up, not going to do the pod for you guys, the faithful, because we've had a couple of bad days? No, we're going to try and put like a bit of a positive spin on it.
Just try and make some sense of it.
You have to. There's no point throwing your arms up in the air and just say, oh, we're cooked, this is wrong, and this is wrong. You know, it's
bizarre. It's a bizarre way of thinking. It's been a fascinating look into the psyche of some people. It's almost like some people wanted it to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
They actually wanted us to get pumped by 90 points. Were unhappy it wasn't 100. Like, it legitimately feels that way.
Yeah.
That some people were dead set waiting for this to start teeing off at people.
They love it.
Yeah.
There's a part of them that loves it. It's like there are those people that saw us get whacked in a grand final again and then were hoping that it turned to shit the next year so they could say, I told you there was something wrong. I told you so. You know, it's like, oh, good on you. You're a marvel. You're an absolute marvel. I just don't get it.
It's an insane way to live your life.
And we're not sitting here saying happy clap and saying
No.
it's going to be all okay.
Faithful, it was fucked. It was fucked sitting there. Okay? I'm sorry, Alessi. I'm sorry to swear, but I mean, you got to call a spade a spade. It was abhorrent to watch. It was disgusting. And we'll talk a bit more about this later. We had the pleasure of spending some time with Haynes, Ollie and Will the day before.
That's right.
And they were in good spirits, and we thought, and still, I mean, we thought everything was going to be okay. We thought we'd jag and win. Obviously, unfortunately, whenever you and I need a win, it's not forthcoming, unfortunately.
That's right.
But we had to sit through that crap with, you know, most of the stadium emptying out at halftime and the crowd cheering behinds. It was dark. It was awful. It looked like, as I said, we folded like a big W deck chair. Is that Bloods culture? You know, so who's the journo? Cameron Noakes?
Noakesy.
Yeah, sorry. Sure. At the moment, you look to be right. I'm wrong. Okay? So it's been a fall off.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a disaster. We've fallen off. We've fallen so far from the grand final areas. So I apologise. But I mean, we're not ever going to let that slide, because that was an unacceptable performance for a team to be in the grand final the year before and to dish up some of the losses that we've dished up this week. As I said, I don't care if we lose. I've never, ever cared about if we lose. I care about how we lose. It goes back to the dirty day discussion of last year. It's the way in which you go about losing. The prime example is the Western Bulldogs this year. Honourable loss after honourable loss, every one they've had pretty much. We've gotten our pants pulled down far too many times this year.
That's right.
But then the question is, do you need to keep pulling out the stick instead of the carrot when it comes to trying to fix this? Because the whole bring your mouth guards to training, that's been said before this year.
It has. And it's sort of, this is where we just don't know exactly where the issue is. Is it a hardness, work rate, effort thing? Or is this somewhat mental, between the ears, scarring type thing?
I strongly believe it's the latter.
Yeah, but that would sort of...
But that feeds into the former as well.
It does, and that sort of goes to Coxie's response.
Correct.
I think he's been pretty strong in the media post-game. What was it? Disappointing. Unacceptable. They were the words coming out of his mouth. And then pulls the Sunday 6 a.m. Clovelly Beach session.
Interesting, because if we had just maybe opened the blinds,
yes,
we probably would have seen the boys.
We see the boys trotting down old Clovelly Road down to the beach. You're absolutely right, Clarko. But no, we didn't. The blinds didn't get open. But that this sort of feeds into, I think he is sort of going with the old school method where it's like, you know, you're not performing on the weekend, get ready to work hard.
How do you feel about that?
I
actually kind of like it, dude.
I do like it. I do like it. But then it's like, where's the problem?
Better work.
Is the problem the mental side of things? Is it the physical side of things? Or is it the perfect balance of both?
Well, this comes back to, you know, the ways of coaching.
Yeah.
Right? Because we know the fire and brimstone approach isn't as much of a broad brush ideology that coaches use anymore, because it doesn't work on as many individual personalities.
Yeah.
So it'll be fascinating to see. And I mean, you're not inside the four walls. You don't know what he means by this sort of tough love approach. You would hope that they tie it in with the mental side of it and the psychology side of it. But whatever they're doing, you know, it sounds like there's punishment afoot, and it'll be fascinating to see how that translates into on-field performance.
I think sort of punishment is due when it's the 20-year reunion of the 05 premiership and you get belted by 90 points and concede 12 goals in a row after kicking the first. You just can't let that go untested, can you?
No, you can't. Yeah, there has to be reparations per se, Deebs, that the players will need to pay, because that was heartbreaking and bitterly disappointing for people to go and pay their hard-earned money to sort of rock up, take their seats each week, and they don't even have anything to cheer about.
Yeah, the home crowd, as you sort of touched on before, mate, I don't think I was embarrassed as a 32-year-old paid-up member who's been a member for 25 plus years. It's not the way I like to go about things, is a bit of a Bronx cheer for a behind.
Yeah.
I think that's really poor, personally, and I was embarrassed when it went around. I don't know how you felt.
Yeah, not good.
We weren't clapping behinds, were we?
No, that's ridiculous.
I think it's really average, and I think I don't even know how to word it properly, but
I'll help you.
Yeah, go on.
Well, go. Give it a crack and I'll help you.
Hold my hand while I go through this, Clarko. Mate, yeah, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. You know, when you just see something and it's just not the way I go about it.
It's also disrespectful.
That's right.
It's fundamentally disrespectful.
Yeah.
Now, there would be a school of thought to say they're not respecting us because they're not putting in effort. And it's like, you can draw that line if you want to, but I think we should hold ourselves to a higher standard than that. Yeah. But geez, there was some, I'm not going to name names, there were some fascinating people walking out the gates at halftime though.
Yes. There are a few.
And that was hard for Matt, because I'm like, shit, if they're leaving.
Yeah, that's right.
When the chips are down.
When the chips are down, that's the type of response you get. But yeah, a few lung dusters going around outside the SCG post half time.
Yeah.
And we see, the faithful running their way out of the ground. It really opens the eyes, doesn't it?
It does.
I haven't come across too many times where, a game's been left at halftime.
And this comes back to the fact that we've been blessed with sensational on-field performance for so long, sans 1 or 2 years.
It comes into it, doesn't it?
It absolutely comes into it.
I just feel, like you've been spoiled as a supporter base, but this is when the chips are down. That's when they need you the most. It's like, and you're like, I deserve better. Guess what? It's not about you. It's about the club. It's about what you stand as a supporter.
Well, it kind of is. No, it kind of is, but it's about everyone.
It is.
It's not just about you. It's about everyone.
It is.
It is about you, but everyone else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, dude.
Yeah, and look, we don't have the answers here. It's
we're
trying to navigate it as much as everyone else.
But I think what is factual, I don't think this is opinion. I think our second tier of players has been inherently exposed.
For sure. And I think when you got, for majority of the 12 rounds so far, when you've had 9 of the 23 out of your side, I think any team would have been exposed.
Yeah, I've been trying to say that to people. But as I say, Footscray have had injuries. Essendon have had injuries.
Yeah.
Collingwood have even had injuries.
Yeah.
And just the way they go about it, it's just a more well-balanced list.
That's right.
We've got an imperfect list. There's a significant lack of connection in Ford 50, and it shows how important Joel Amati is.
Yeah.
Because we saw the one game he was back, we beat Carlton.
Yeah.
And it just looked so much better going inside 50.
Look, I think we've known that's where the issues have been the whole time. And like as a whole this year, McLean's been back since that Freo game, missed one game, right?
Very average.
Very, very average, Mats. But I think when you didn't have McLean, you didn't have McDonald, you didn't have Amati, that's when you're just exposed in front of the ball.
Yep.
And it stems from there. No focal point. And that's you really just start to battle, don't you? I think that's where a lot of the problems lie.
Yes.
You look at this contested ball number, you look at this clearance number, and there's just nothing to kick to.
It's also just keeping it locked inside 50.
That's another one.
They just walk it out.
Walk it out. That was in its droves. They just walk that thing out like a Sunday stroll down
down Clovelly
down Clovelly Road.
Down Clovelly Road on a Sunday.
Exactly right.
Jeez, it was a good weekend up until then.
It really was. We dotted some I's, crossed some T's, and it was green ticks everywhere, faithful.
W's in the chat.
W's in the chat all day. All day, all night. All day,
all day, all night.
That's right. But we just couldn't walk away with that green tick that we crave the most, and that's the 4 points, isn't it?
Yep.
It's what it all comes down to. This is why we do this footy thing, is to win games of footy, and it's not quite happening at the moment, but we stick fat through the shit, and then it makes the good stuff all the more better.
That's right.
That's right.
Absolutely right. Let's take a break. Do you know what I miss, Deebs?
What's that, Mads?
I miss those authentic American-style pickles from my times in the States.
Well, Mads, don't get yourself in a pickle. Delicious are sponsoring the pod this month. They are a proudly family-owned and run business committed to bringing you the best-tasting pickles for your picnic, platters, and pantries. The owner, Jimmy, is a huge Bloods guy.
Yeah, but are they Australian-made ingredients, Deebs?
Yes, Mads.
Are they seriously crunchy?
Absolutely, Mads.
Are they sneakily healthy and simply delicious?
Yes, they are.
Well, Deebs, that sounds bloody sensational. Head on over to delicious.com.au and get yourself some pickles. Oh, welcome back to True Bloods.
Yes.
As I was saying to Alessi off air, and I said to a few people today, I've actually had withdrawals from you. Because the Chloe, the Clovelly Hotel, where is it? Is it this side?
Yes.
How good.
Nailed it.
They very kindly invited us to stay at their wonderful hotel.
Sensational. First time I've stayed.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I'm a veteran there.
You are.
But it's the first time you stayed. How did you find it?
Loved it. Sensational. What a location. Biggest TV in the southern hemisphere. The best beer garden I've ever seen. Perfect for content, Mads.
And Meg's just stunning. Fantastic. great, the best host.
The best host. Name a better host.
Name a better host. You can't.
You can't.
You
Exactly
can't.
right.
But they kindly gave us, I don't know whether they meant to do it, but they gave us adjoining rooms.
Yeah.
So we just sort of float in and out. Now, the first night, when they had some really, really good Japanese food.
Oh, yeah. How good
It
was that?
Awesome. In Clovelly, it was called Wagyoto or something like that.
Wagyoto or
Yeah,
something
it was
along those
really,
lines?
Really, really good.
Highly suggested. 4.7s on your Google rating.
Yeah,
so we knew we were on
I
to
think even 4.8. So it was very good. Alessi, if you're ever up there, you get there. Very good stuff.
What do we have going? We had the crispy dark in like the hoisin.
Yeah,
like
it
broth.
was good. It was good. We had
There
octopus, slow cooked octopus.
Char-grilled octopus?
Yeah, no, it was a char grilled broccolini.
Yeah.
It was a slow cooked octopus. Then we had the wagyu. Then you had some gyoza. I had some sushi. Oh, it was so good, dude.
Yeah, it was W's in the
Couple
chat.
of glasses of red for me.
W's in the chat.
Fuck. Holy hell. It was a really good weekend.
hell?
What the hell?
What the hell, Auntie?
What the hell, Burton?
The
Hell, LeBron James.
What the hell?
You just walked around the airport. See, we were actually
so rattled.
We were so good. We were so good on the first night.
Yeah.
Like we were so.
Mads was like, let's get a bottle of red. And I was just like, it's a long weekend, Mads. I said,
Yeah.
we've got a lot of stuff to get done. And so we settled for a couple of beers.
But we
Mads
got
had a
some
glass of red.
like snacks on the way home.
We did.
And posted up for Essendon and the Lions.
Mm.
And we were in bed. We were in bed before,
9:30.
before the Channel 7 team were embarrassing themselves in the rooms.
That's right.
Post game, we were sound asleep, so we were off to a flyer, and then we had a big day of content.
Came out on the Friday, didn't we? All guns blazing.
Yeah, met Polly at HQ.
HQ got down
did
there.
some Vox
Box
content.
You can tell.
The Swans are emailing us. They're like, "Oh yeah, you can come down and do some Vox." Teams like, "What's Vox?"
Like I called Mads and I'm like, what's this Vox stuff they're talking about? And I'm just like, I got no idea what it is. And it's like, like the short form questions where they get them out the front.
Like what the besties do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Shout out.
Shout out besties. But that was good with all the boys.
It was.
And then it's on the YouTubes. It'll probably be out on the Spotify and Apple Podcasts later. But we were lucky enough to be joined by Isaac, Ollie, and Will to discuss Doozy and to discuss footy. Ollie had just been dropped, so it was a unique situation.
It was. It's funny how you can gain respect for the person very quickly.
Oh, dude.
We build ideas in our head of these guys that we watch and review and talk about every single week, and you build your opinions, and you hate some players and you love some players. But I think for Ollie Florent to rock up like he did the day after he'd been dropped, and we spoke to him about it pre-interview, and he's like, "No, happy to answer questions on it." I think I've just gained the utmost respect for him.
Dude, we walked big Ollie Florent guys. Big Ollie Florent guys.
Yeah.
I thought he was held himself in a really Bloods-like manner, if you will, Deebs.
For sure. And that interview went really well. As Mads said, that is up on your YouTubes now.
The audio's a bit cooked, but that's okay.
Yeah,
we're
we're working through that audio stuff, but we thought we may as well get it out and then we can work on the quality of the audio later. So that will stay up on your YouTubes and hopefully on your podcast platforms by the end of the week.
In
Hopefully.
due course.
That's right.
In due course. And then we got down to Swans HQ pre-game. Joey Kennedy and Jude Bolton. That was great. It was good
great.
fun. Oh, Peter Gotsis. Peter Gotsis
Shout
was
out.
around. Shout out Peter Gotsis. Shout out Greg from the Goldie.
Greg from the Goldie. Yes.
It was good gear. We're down at Watson's in
Bailey
the entertainment
from the
precinct.
cheer squad.
Bailey. Yes. Huge.
Tills and Hannah.
Tills, Hannah,
Everyone down there.
Saundo. It was good seeing Saundo.
Joshy Saunders, the old
Joshy
man.
Saunders.
Who have we missed? We can't miss any of the crew.
Hannah and Tills are good value.
They were.
Very good value. It always happens, that walk from the bat and ball to the Cleveland. What else is open?
Yeah.
The Cleveland.
3 o'clock in the morning.
The Cleveland's that away, man.
Marnie Vinyl came down with
Marnie
her parents.
Vinyl. Yeah, Marnie Vinyl, big supporter of the pod.
Pod.
Down there with her parents. And we met so many people after that interview with Jude and Joey. Great to see them as always.
Get some pictures with the faithful.
It was good.
Gives you huge imposter syndrome.
Massive imposter syndrome.
Where just two blokes sit on a couch and talk to each other every week.
When people come and grab you before they grab Josh Kennedy.
Yeah.
That's imposter syndrome.
But
that was about as good as it got.
Yeah.
Because then it got pretty fucked up, to be honest, Faithful.
It got late early.
Yeah, it got late early.
It's gotten
late very early. And we got pumped.
We did.
We got pumped, and I'll tell you what, the Faithful came for us in some aspects.
A few drive-bys.
There were a few drive-bys.
Not too often we get the drive-bys, but that's okay.
That's fine. No, happy to have drive-bys.
But just expect to cop a little bit back. I'm not going to have any of this narrative that we have to agree.
Yep,
with
we are
what you're saying. And if I want to go hard, I will. And it's vice versa. If you want to go hard at us, feel free.
Yeah,
thick skin, but don't sook it up.
Yeah, you can't sook it up.
We're
not a wussy boy pod. I'm sorry. We've been very clear about this. We are not a wussy boy pod. We're not. We're just not.
So if you're prepared to give us a tag, we
Well,
might come for you if we feel like it.
We'll come back to you. But,
that's right.
And also, we are not just a Sydney Swans shill podcast. We're not just a mouthpiece for Tom Harley and Dan Cox.
That's right.
That is what I probably find offensive.
Yeah, a little bit.
If anything.
Look, until we're on the payroll and we're sending in an invoice every week and True Bloods goes to the next level and I'm getting chauffeured to and from games.
Yeah, until I'm getting driven to Tullamarine Airport to get on the QBE jet to go to Sydney to watch the Swannies.
It's not quite
We're very much independent.
It's like, what would you rather, Faithful? Would you rather us build the connection and the relationship with the club so we can bring some sick content to you guys? Or would you rather have a go at us for being too close to the club and being a mouthpiece? So maybe I might put some polls up in the chat and we can comment on that. So that's it was an interesting one from the Faithful.
Yeah,
but
fascinating.
look, as I said, we'll address it here. More than happy to answer your questions.
But
DMs are always open.
The DMs are always open. Mostly Deeble will reply. We've got some voice notes.
We do. It's good to hear from Rossi from Gippsland. Now, Rossi is one of the few who I will allow to go over the minute because it's always great content. And
one of the great footy heads.
He does, and I think he represents our opinions pretty well. So we'll start off
Ross from Gippsland.
With Big Rossi.
Ross from Gippsland here, just like old Swanee fans, struggling a little bit at the moment. I just wanted to kind of make a few comments as what's going on at the club at the moment, and in particular kind of make sure that, you know, as a collective, as a group of supporters, that we're not just trying to put the blame anywhere. I think I've heard a lot of the narrative around the responsibilities sits with Cox and it's his fault for X, Y and Z. I think, you know, through a few behaviours, whether that be the review of the grand final, positional changes at the start of the season, and playing players in and out of positions, etc. I think that's a really easy one to go to. But all that really those actions have done is bring to the fore something that, let's be honest, we've known for a little while now, that there's a little bit of emotional vulnerability about this group through previous experiences, and it's been a bit of a perfect storm, whether it be big losses, transition of leadership, loss of senior players and the like. And unfortunately, we just found ourselves in a bit of a cycle. So yes, his actions from Cox have brought it to the fore, but it's not necessarily his fault as to why it's happened. It was always going to break at some point, and now's probably the best time for us to be reviewing that. And kind of what I would say moving forward is, you know, if you had a friend that was emotionally struggling, you wouldn't tell him to work harder. So I really hope the narrative internally is not, we're just going to work harder and keep doing the same things. It's about trying to process and understand and try and find incremental uplift, which will help us in the long run. And everyone that spoke about Cox at the start of the year spoke about the future of the club. They weren't talking about this year. And just because results haven't changed doesn't mean that we changed course. So I'm sticking fat. But in particular, I just want us to understand, this would be tough. You see the players off the field. You see how connected they are. You see how committed they are. So there's no reason why they wouldn't be given 100% on the field. And all the games I've been to live, I've seen tackling, I've seen pressure, I've seen players work hard. But what I have seen is a little bit of emotional unrest. And I really hope that, they're having those conversations and trying to work it out. Thanks, boys. Love your work as always. And apologies for the long voice memo.
Good on you, Rossi.
Well done, Rossi. And he makes a valid point. I mean, do you know what? On the hard work side of things, I think there can be hard work, but there's got to be the emotional side of it as well.
Yeah,
I think it takes two.
Yeah.
I don't think you can just do either one.
Yeah, I don't think it's all one or all the other. It's a bit of a balance, and that's where we go with that. And just a shout out to Rossi to get that through on the speak pipes.
On the speak pipes.
So link in bio for all your voice notes that you want to get through. Link in bio, speak pipes, because we're a big speak pipe pod. Now that's hard to get out. That test
with that lisp of yours
techniques.
Yeah. Big speak pipe pod.
That's right. We've got
Peter Piper, Big
Dave
Pickle.
here.
Dave.
Big Davo.
The boys need love more than they need criticism. Yes. Horrible performance. But we need to stick fat.
We do.
They've given us so many great times. They're clearly not there at the minute. But let's not tear down this great club.
That's right.
Everyone forgets pretty fucking quickly, don't they?
They really do. They love to jump off when things aren't going well.
But is this symptomatic of a privileged supporter base?
I think so.
What do you think, Alessi? A little bit.
It's like we had those bad couple of years that we had in COVID.
It's really only like 19, 20.
Yeah. And it's like we probably didn't care as much as we normally did because we couldn't get to games or anything like that, and you're following it from home. And
2020 was an asterisk year.
That's right. So stick fat. Mickey Saunders.
Oh, wow.
Your man. Big
Here we
Mickey
go.
Saunders. Here we go.
Good evening, faithful, True Bloods. Look, rough evening in the office. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We definitely weren't up to our best tonight. I thought going into the game, the forward line probably was a little bit undermanned. Obviously, we've got some shortages of the list. The effort level in the first half was pretty abysmal, if I'm being completely transparent. We really didn't halve the contest, and our ball efficiencies was pretty abysmal. Look, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at the MCG against Richmond. Yeah, hopefully we have a few beers pre-game and get the vibes up. Look, this isn't an ideal season, but I just like to remind all the faithful that, a few years back when Horse was in charge, we were 15th and everyone says we were playing a defensive game style. Let's give Coxie, a fair crack at it. He's signed for a few years. Let's see what he's going to bring to the table. Obviously, we need to make some massive list changes at the end of the season. And, some boys will be out of a job.
Yeah.
He's an interesting character, Mickey Saunders, but name one thing he said that was out of line then.
You can't.
You can't.
It was pretty good from Mickey Saunders for a change. Well done, buddy.
The whole whacking of Cox, it's what? Is that 11 or 12 games?
12 games now.
12 games. Guys, you don't have the data. You simply don't have the data to suggest whether he's a good or a bad coach. You don't. You don't have the data.
That's right.
We're a big, big data pod.
Data-driven pod.
Data-driven.
But you hate Hoyne.
No, I don't hate him. We don't hate anyone. I just think he's a nerd.
Fair enough. We got Gemma.
Fuck, shit, fuck. What the
Okay.
fuck was that?
Okay.
But also, love you, Grundy. Good work.
Yeah, Grundy was
Brody.
good.
That just caught me off
They're
guard.
paying his wage. They're paying his wage.
Brody Grundy has been pretty good.
He's been really good, dude.
He's about the only. He's leading the best and fairest, isn't he?
I think so.
His W's in the chat.
W's in the chat for Brody
for
Grundy.
Brody Grundy, I think so. We got Blair from Naruma.
Naruma.
No,
Blair.
We need the
Come
volume
on,
up, brother.
son.
You know what we can't do? We can't do hands free here at True Bloods. You actually have
Hands free.
Bluetooth, whatever you want to call it.
It sounded like I was in 1999. I've got you on the hands free.
That's right. We can't do that. And you've actually, if you want to send through a voice note on your voice pipes, you need to hire your own studio and have really good quality voice memos coming through. Because that from Blair from Naruma, that's as bad as we've had so far.
As bad as it gets.
Nah, look, I know you didn't mean it, Blair, but I need you to listen back to it and get the volumes up, please. We got Kai Ward. Here we go.
True Bloods. It's Kai from Kaiville. And it's time to KYS. Keep yourself safe. For mine,
For yours.
it's not looking good. But we don't throw in the towel. Well, we do for this year. But when you look at it as a whole, we're going to be okay. Just poach your forward like we always do. Get a high pick. Get Errol Goulden back next year. And you know what? Bob is your uncle. Swans winning the flag in 2026. Book it. Up the Bloods. Up the body.
Book your tickets.
Book your tickets. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Errol Goulden will be back in round 14.
Errol Goulden will be back in bloody 2 weeks.
Yeah, round 14. So, light work.
Might have to go to Adelaide. Watch him come over the hill.
That's right.
Now,
So
can I
what
just
pace of
say
time?
quick thing about that? I'm embarrassed and I'm annoyed at myself. Right? Because remember how we were copying that? Glad this isn't a history pod. King Arthur had nothing to do with the Crusades. you
Yeah.
know? What I actually meant was King Richard. I meant King Richard. I didn't mean King Arthur.
Oh,
King
sure.
Arthur, I don't think King Arthur actually existed. King Arthur is a myth. It's a legend. King Richard, the Lionheart, led the Third Crusades.
Oh, big Crusades pod.
Big Crusades pod.
Big
Middle Eastern issues pods.
Big horses over hillside, sun shining, coming over the back, Errol Goulden horseback pod.
Shirtless on a
Shirtless
horseback.
on a horse. All right, we move on. We've got Josh, not as bad as it seems, Martin. Stick fat, and it is from email, stick fat at me be a little bit optimistic.com. That's the type
That's good gear.
of creativity
That's
that we
good
love
gear.
here at True Blood. So, Joshy, here we go.
True Bloods, Josh here from Moral Bark. Definitely not what we wanted, getting pantsed at the SCG. But I want to say it's not as bad as it seems, even though it seemed pretty bad. Two things. One is our structure. Not having Joel Amadi or another decent marking forward in form definitely affected us. You know, you could see we won a lot of the stats, or at least evened up a lot of the stats out of the centre, you know, clearances, all that sort of thing. But the issue was it would go in and then they'd mark it and then they'd get it back down their end really quickly and our boys couldn't get back. So
Correct.
I think that's one thing. Watch it all change. Once Joel Amadi gets back, that's going to make a big impact. And also is continuity. Having all these boys out, boys coming in, you can really see that the team isn't galvanising together. So, you know, once we get some boys back, get a few games, get some consistency, I think that'll definitely help.
It's a good word, isn't
Stick
it?
fat faithful, up the Bloods, up the potty.
Continuity.
Galvanised.
That's right. Bind together.
We're not galvanised.
Strong.
We're not galvanised
That's right.
currently. We will be.
That's right.
We're not now. That much is clear.
That's right. We've got a couple more here. We'll go with Naomi Peach.
Peachy.
P-H. P-A-C-H. P-H.
Max, Mads, Deebs, Naomi from Glengarry, South Australia. Well,
Hello, Naomi.
what a fuck up. Can't say I slept that well last night. I'm still devastated. Will I be going to work tomorrow wearing my Swans gear living in the middle of Adelaide?
I don't think so.
You betcha.
No way.
I'm very disappointed. I think we've got a massive problem between the years.
Yep.
And there are several things we need to get right.
That's right.
I think we now need to just go, well, fuck it, we're not going to make finals this year because we're not. And maybe start doing some wild things like throwing Indy Kirk in. Get rid of Hamling. He's not working as a forward. As I said, throw Indy Kirk in. Throw some of our young bloods in just to at least give them a taster.
A Ned Bowman.
It's not going to be an easy week, but eventually we will prevail.
That's right.
Up the potty, up the bloods.
Yes.
See, that's the attitude.
That's the attitude. And we might round it out with the great Saundo.
Yes, we love Saundo.
So listen to the sound quality here. I'm sure Faithful, don't let me down, Saundo. Pumping you up. Quality.
Deebs, Mads, Faithful, Saundo from Pennant Hills here. Hope you're all doing well. Good to be back on The Voices in 2025. Not sure how this speak pipe is going to work with the old recording studio, but we'll give it a crack. Very unfortunate season so far. The mighty Bloodstained Angels have not rocked up. You guys did such a great job during the week trying to keep the morale high. It was great vibes pre-game, over a few beers. Good to catch up with you boys. The interview with JPK and Jude Bolton was phenomenal. It was all shaping up to be a bit of a needle mover. This was the banker. This was the no-brainer. This was the one that couldn't fail. But unfortunately, it all came to nothing, and it left us all going, what the hell? What the helly? What the Halle Berry? After the game. It was a good night out, but unfortunately not the result we wanted. Can we at least beat Richmond next week? Come on, boys. Hands off Cox, on with socks. One last effort before the bye. Give us something to smile about. We'll still rock up for you, even if you don't. Up the potty, up the Swannies. Go, boys.
Oh, shit, that was funny.
Isn't that good? Just to put a smile on your dial.
He was good. He was very good value on Saturday night.
He was the great Saundo. It's always good. Catching up.
Danny.
And Danny, of course. Shout out.
Oh.
Shout out.
That's awful that we forgot Danny.
I
Integral part.
I tried to jog memories.
Oh, God.
Yes, Danny was
was great value. Phenomenal value.
The PA. She was our PA.
She was controlling everything.
That's right. But yeah, it was a great night out, wasn't it?
It was sensational.
Danny hasn't been listening to the pod the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
So it won't even matter. She told us that.
Won't even matter. What the helly? What the helly? The LeBron James.
Yeah, it was.
It's
a funny theory. Theme. Theory. It's a funny theme across the weekend, wasn't it?
It was. It was the best.
It's funny how we can keep ourselves entertained with
correct.
Some cheap lyrics like that.
Insanity, pure insanity.
That's right. But that wraps us up, I think.
It does.
Clarko. We'll try and turn the wheel around about how we can get the dub against the Tigers. We'll be back.
Go.
Welcome back to True Bloods. Clarko.
Yes. What the hell?
What the helly? We had this 5-year-old Swans fan chuck through
Have we
something on the
Have we got a
speed pipe.
name?
No, just 5-year-old Swans
Just
fan.
they haven't named them yet?
No.
Just waiting.
So we'll play this last little voice.
What the hell?
What the helly?
Go.
Wish this one could win, but they lost. It's okay. It's just for having fun. Yeah. Never over, dude. Yeah, and next, they might win.
That's
but
right.
they lost this time. They might win this time. Yes.
That's right. We might win this time.
Yes.
The 5-year-old Swans fan just turning around morale. Big morale pod, as you all know.
Morale pod.
And we face the Tigers this week, Clarko. 110 down at the MCG.
Have to win.
Have to win. Have to turn this, whatever
Have
this
to.
thing is,
But
around.
I mean, this is what I mean. It's a week is a long time in football, Deeps.
It is.
We can imagine if we came out and just played, I'm not saying pump them, but just played a completely different brand of football where, you know, look, last year and the year before last, our whole game has been based off elite skills by foot.
Yeah.
We're first for clangers.
Yes.
First.
That's a lot of mistakes.
That's cooked.
Yeah.
So again, we go back to what we want to see this year, and that's incremental uplift. Want to see hitting targets, want to see forward pressure, want to see us slowing down their transition, take away the corridor. They're young, they're fearless, they're courageous as a team.
Yeah.
And they do go down the corridor.
Yeah, they take
the game
They
take the game on and they tackle. So it's not going to be in any way, shape or form a walk in the park for a team that was touted to not win a game this year. I've got news for you.
Yep.
They've won a similar amount to us.
For sure. Now, in terms of personnel, have we got anyone back this week?
Sam Wicks is a test.
You would think he would be coming
Yes.
back in. Is he about the only one? Harry
Aaron
Cunningham?
Francis is also a test.
That's right. They were the two.
Don't worry, put that phone away, mate. I got it all sorted.
Good on you, Clarko. About time you started pulling your weight here on this podcast. Harry Cunningham played in the twos.
Yes.
That could be the head that we need.
Could be the head. Could be the head. Could be the move.
Could be the move. The cool, calm, and collected Harry Cunningham.
Does Ollie Florent get back in?
What did he have on the way? He must have had 25. Didn't they fall apart in the VFL
It's
too?
capitulation. Our depth is seriously concerning.
10 points down at three-quarter time to lose by 90 points. That was interesting when we flicked that over after we had made our way over to HQ. That's for sure.
We don't have depth. We have shallow.
Yes.
That is not good.
Yeah.
That is a real concern.
It is. But yeah, Florent in consideration.
Is there anyone you're omitting?
Well, Biasy makes his way.
Well,
I think
Biasy's had 2 touches.
Yeah, just subbed off halfway through the third. Yeah. That was sort of the call I went with last week, and I think that was proved correct that he's been out of form for a little while.
And that's fine because I'll tell you what, he was in the VFL unlisted last year.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's all good. That's all good.
I tell you what move 100% doesn't work is when we've got some tall timber up in the forward line, maybe you're a chance at bombing it in, maybe, right? But when you've got Taylor Adams playing half forward and he's getting outmarked, outbodied, they've got to change his role. I think
it's got to be a hardcore midfield role.
It's got to be.
It's got to be.
That role's got to change. That looked terrible.
It looked awful. And how many free kicks did he give away purely because he was out-muscled and out-positioned in those marking contests?
Yeah. So I think Taylor might be in some strife, but I want to see a role change if I do see something. You know, another one who's been slightly off the boil too is James Jordan.
Yeah.
I don't think
when he
his last 3 weeks.
When he doesn't get a role, it's a concern.
Yeah, it's hard to have a role when you're down by 90 points.
No, that's what I mean. But that's what I mean.
Yeah. So look, these are the guys we're looking for some improvement from, right?
But as we say, you've got a VFL side that just let more than 10 goals through in a quarter, in a final quarter. Yep. There's no one banging the door down.
Yeah. That's right.
Do you use this as throwing caution to the wind and just seeing what you got down there?
Well, I don't.
Dare I say Ned Bowman?
I don't think so.
No, God, no.
I don't think so. Joel's still out for 1 more week. That'll be the 3rd week of his suspension and then the bye. So that means he's not going to be able to play for the best part of 5 weeks.
And there'll be a bit of ring rust.
There'll be ring rust. So we look forward to that, don't we? Don't we? Well, Joel Hamling did go back.
Which thank Christ. Thank Christ they did something that we wanted them to.
Tex looked like a modern
Tex was a freight train. Yeah. Tex turned into 1996 Wayne Carey.
That's right. But look, I think Juzzy had a pretty good game on the weekend. He's one who needs to stay in form. The Chad needs to hit some targets. Had 12 clearances on the weekend, but turned it over a bit.
What do you go at? Under 30% or something?
Not good. And yeah, look, it was a nasty night in all. So it's time for everyone to turn it around. We turn full attention to this Richmond footy side.
I tell you what, Chad Warner did some of his best work on the MCG against the Tigers in 2021.
That was great. That's a highlight. That will be
where he arrived. He announced himself as one of the stars of the competition that day, and I'm hoping that he can do it again.
For sure. But they did a great job against GWS, the Tigers. Didn't
Phenomenal.
They? Bar a rev up from Callan Ward,
whose career is now over.
That's right. Managed to get his team across the line to win by 3 points, but your Dion Prestiers are back having 31.
The human meatball.
That's right. Tim Taranto, 23 and 2. You've got Tom Lynch up forward doing his thing. Seth Campbell doing his thing.
Floston down back
Nate
doing his thing.
In the ruck against Brody.
See, when you say these names, it's really not a bad list, is it? And it's a list that has caused us a lot of strife in the past.
That's right. They got the wood over us last time in a grand final making year. So we definitely don't go into this lightly, and we've got to find a way to get it done, don't we?
What do you think the keys are to the game?
I think the keys are our transition inside forward.
It has to be. It's our connection forward of centre. Yes.
I brought it up as a point to the Doozy boys when we started talking a little bit of footy and that connection forward, and they're aware of it. They sort of agreed with most that I was saying and addressing it. And it starts with the likes of Wilbur. It's can he build that defensive game and then get his offensive game going? I think that's how he gets himself into the game. Haynes, isolating himself up forward and then, being able to play that midfield role and get his hands on it more. That's key to getting this done.
I would be more inclined this week to have Heaney playing more forward and have Adams playing full-time mid.
Yeah.
I would honestly be, I know they're slightly different players in the way they go about their midfield craft, but I would honestly be happy to try something like that that's not so left of centre.
Yes.
But that what's the sort of outcome, right?
Yep.
The outcome could be Heaney gets on an absolute heater and kicks 4.
Yep.
And we win the game. And Taylor finds some confidence back
Yep.
and gets 6 or 7 clearances.
I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that, but have they just put the line through Taylor as a mid?
Well, but I'm saying you got whatever lines you put through anyone, you have to erase those lines.
Right?
You got at this point
eraser.
Well, you get pencils have erasers on them on the end of them for a reason, Deebs.
That's right.
People make mistakes. Circumstances change. Our circumstances have changed, right? We are in a position where we can have a look at what's possible again. We don't have to be sort of afraid of dropping games because I've got news for you. We're not making finals this year.
That's right. It's looking that way. Now, if you were going to invite someone to the party for a cheeky doozy, and look, we might need
this one. How good are these hats, by the way?
Great.
Ollie gave us this hat.
Yeah, sensational.
Sensational hat.
The double raspberries and double lemons might get a workout this weekend if it doesn't go too well, but who are you inviting to the party to get it done?
To bring a 6-pack of the Twisted Lemon vodka and soda.
To the party.
Taylor Adams. It made me sad what was happening on Saturday night with him. He looked so frustrated.
Yep.
I want to see him contributing really positively and playing a role that suits him this week.
For sure.
You?
I'm going to a guy who we know can just reignite.
Oh, surely.
This footy club.
Oh, sure.
I think so much of our drive.
Oh, yeah.
To this footy side can come through this guy, and it comes off halfback. It's the Lizard. It's Nick Blakey.
Liz.
Let's go, Liz.
Yes.
Get going. 25. Pull off the kicks. Run. Carry. Handball. Receive. Let's go, Lizard.
You're not sending him out of the goal square?
No. I'm going to leave him in his all-Australian position.
If it ain't broke,
halfback.
don't fix it.
That's right. But it is broken at the moment. But Lizard ain't broken. That's right.
Swans by how far, Deebs?
Swannies by 2 goals on the G. Saturday afternoon, back to the Union House for winner's piss, hopefully.
Results-based piss.
That's right.
W's in the chat.
W's in chat for the winner's piss.
I think we win by 9 points.
Yes.
Do you know what Richmond
Hard
game?
fought.
Do you know what Richmond game sticks out for me? That
For
one
you.
where for me, Kieran Jack and Gary Rowan did
Coming
some
back.
some nice work in the final quarter.
5-6 goals
Beautiful.
down at some stage. Found our way
Yeah.
back in that.
On
So
a
that was
on a
ripper.
sa- on a sunny
On
Saturday afternoon.
Hey, AFL members, there'll be some sun out there for us.
Oh wow! Oh yeah, nice.
But
Me and
it's
you.
probably going to be pretty cold, I would say. Do you want me to look at the
Yeah.
forecast for you?
Bring it up,
Clarko?
Jane Bunn.
Jane Bunn with the weather zone. Let's get on to...
Do I wear the vintage Nautica again?
look, mate, you do what you have to do.
Yeah, sure.
Because I wouldn't want you feeling uncomfortable in any capacity. So
Like you were last week in your collar.
yes,
in the
exactly
standing room,
right.
in the
Outside-
members.
That's right. Outside comfort zones. I want you to be comfortable, my guy.
Sure.
15, little bit of sun, little bit of rain.
No, that's fine.
So
Play
I
on.
can't see it's getting too hot. The little bit of sun coming through might be
Sure.
nice.
Mykonos.
Oh, yeah. Mykonos down in Melbourne, 14 degrees. We love that. But yeah, Swannies get it done, hopefully.
Hey, now we got a tipping.
We got to go through the top 10.
We have to because we got some feedback
We did.
from a leader,
Yes.
a leader of the tipping.
No, it wasn't the leader.
No,
but
a
it was
leader.
A leader.
I would call him in the.
So
in
you
the-
want me to go through the top 10?
He's in the leadership pack. Yes.
Is he low? Oh, no, sorry. Let's start from number 10.
Yeah, that's a
Work
better
our
way
way
of
up.
doing it.
Weary Connell.
We're at the Wolf of What's On
That's
here.
right. That's right. He's on 75. All these guys are on 75. Greg on the Goldie,
Wow.
75. Mark Gleno, J Max, Paddy the Baddie.
Oh, J Max, that's Josh Maxwell.
J Max and Paddy is
Paddy the Baddie.
Paddy
McGarrigle.
McGarrigle. That's right.
Wow.
And they're on 75. Lockie Morley on 76, along with Belly's Banter.
Schmitty.
Wish List on 76. And Isabel Lowe
Now, how
is
the
too clear at the top
Mate,
of the ladder.
how? She must be up there in total.
I don't know. Possibly.
Dude, 78 is insane.
Good tipping.
That's good tipping.
Happy with it?
Well, when you consider I'm on 71, Deebs.
That's right.
I've
71,
almost
what am I on?
lost.
70.
I've almost lost. I've lost one of the whole buy rounds to her.
Yeah.
Tipped zero.
Zero.
As far as that's
That's right.
concerned.
All right. It starts off on Thursday night this week, the tipping Mads.
Tipping.
The Doggies against producer Alessi's Hawthorn.
Geez, that's at Marvell. Indoor footy.
A wheels off at Hawthorn.
The wheels off?
Sicily gone for
Sicily's
two.
been very, very average,
I think
though.
that leads it to injury, of course.
We wouldn't know anything about injuries here at the Swans. The Swanies.
Shwani boys. Bulldogs for mine.
Bulldogs for yours. What will that be? The third loss in a row for Hawks?
Yes, correct.
Shit. Bugger.
Who you tipping?
I'm tipping the Dogs.
Very good. Friday night, Adelaide, Brisbane.
Adelaide.
Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval.
Yeah.
I'll tip Brisbane. Swannies. GMHBA.
GMHBA. They're
Geelong.
not unbeatable, but GMHBA at the Beach House, but I think they will win.
I think they will too.
GWS and Port Adelaide and Manuka Oval.
GW.
Same. They'll be lifted. North Melbourne out would come against West Coast in Bunbury. Their home ground in Bunbury.
Sure. Hands Oval.
Yes. Hands.
I think West Coast.
Yeah, West Coast.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say North. North at home. Carlton and Essendon. Traditional rivals.
Dons for Mark.
7:20 on a Saturday night. Dons for yours, and won't that just put the nail in the coffin of Carlton for this year?
Yeah, I can't throw shade at anyone else at the
No.
moment.
Collingwood and Melbourne on the traditional King's birthday time slot.
That's right. Long weekend, is it?
Yes.
There we go.
Not for you, big guy.
I get so caught up in my own little locksmithing world, Madison Clark, that I
Yes.
wouldn't even know when a public holiday was.
That's right.
So that's great. Monday off. There might be a Sunday beveragino out there for me.
There could be.
But that just about wraps us up, Clarko. Encourage the faithful to stick fat. Encourage the faithful to get back to the Union House for some results-based piss regardless.
Has to be out there for us.
It's going to be one of our last opportunities to get together at the MCG. It is our last MCG game for the year as it stands. So get back to the Union. And I just don't think we'll have any time pre-game, so we're not going to suss
Well, we're
anything
not.
pre-game.
We're
so
not.
it's a
It's 1 o'clock.
1:10 game.
Yep.
So that is where that stands, isn't it, Clarko?
It's been lovely seeing you again.
I missed you yesterday, buddy.
Yeah, likewise, buddy. We'll be sure to have some sort of beveragino on Saturday together, which will be lovely. But stick fat, faithful. It's tough. It's going to probably get tougher. It's getting late early.
That's right. But this has been
Stick
True
together.
Bloods. We are the number one independent Sydney Swans fan podcast. We remain number one in your hearts and number one on the charts with speaking words of wisdom. Up the potty.